Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of My Faith with Homer and Pip. Homer?
Normally, I start with prayer. And so now there's a new song out by Matthew West called Don't Stop Praying. Everybody uh, has to listen to it. And I know if Mother Teresa was alive, she'd say, "Yep, Homer, you nailed this one. Matthew West, Don't Stop Praying."
I love it. I saw something interesting at Walgreens. I always forget it if I'm not reading it, but it said something to the effect. It was on a little chalkboard right behind the pharmacy counter, and it said, "Let today's tears sow the seeds of your future happiness." Thought that was kind of cool. And speaking of happy, I and we are delighted to have Mackenzie Edinger as our guest on My Faith with Homer and Pip. Homer, she is an amazing woman. We'll get into all that, but as always, we kick it off with you. And Mackenzie, certainly welcome. We're delighted to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
And nothing against old people like me, but I'm always especially fascinated by young people that we have on My Faith because they don't have many years to choose from. When I ask Mackenzie the first question to everyone, how do you want to start your story? At what age and where? For My Faith, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mackenzie, owner of Inclusion Coffee Company in Heartland. Growing up, we always went to church with our family, got baptized young, always went to Sunday school, went through all of that. Did not go to a private school, but I think kind of growing up, faith was always a big part of my life. But just recently, when I did open inclusion, I think that's where it really hit me. And opening this amazing coffee shop that now truly did change my life. But I really think that God led me to make this decision. And a lot of young people aren't, I guess you'd say, don't want to take the risk to try and be a young entrepreneur, because there is definitely a risk in doing that. So just taking the risk, I think he really did lead me to make this decision early on.
So you say God, but you could have many choices. You could have a friend, you could have a family, or you could say they led me. What? Give us the background to where you're certain that God did.
I think it was really just like it hit me overnight, really. I've always had this dream to do something like this. But overnight, I wouldn't say overnight, but a short period of time, I think I just heard, I really do think God was talking to me and telling me, you need to do something like this. There's so many kids, adults, people in the world that need a job. A lot of these young kids with special needs and disabilities show their skills and really show what they can do. So opening this opportunity for them to really show their expertise and what they can provide for the community.
So, like, were you praying to God where you're just walking down the street and all of a sudden you feel like God's talking to you? What's the dynamic in which you had this relationship that led you to believe what you just said?
I was talking to a lot of friends and family about what can I do to make a difference. Um, and yes, I started going to church more often with some of my friends that I hadn't seen in a while. And I was like, you know what? I want to try something new. I went to school to be a teacher. That was always my dream. My dream was to teach in a school, be in administration, lead a school. But then started going to church, praying, saying, I want to do something different to make a difference. And that's kind of how I came up with inclusion, and here we are.
No, wait. So you have again all these options. No, you know what? I'm going to start going to church again. Or what? What made you even think that?
That is a good question. I don't know what really got me back into it. Like I said, we went as when I was younger, as a family, and wasn't something that we did every weekend. So growing up, making the decision to not start a new path, but come back to something that I used to be very regimented in, I would say, and start doing it again, just with a new set of friends that I had met along the way in high school and college that kind of got me back into it.
How old are you, if you will answer?
Yeah, I just turned 26.
Wow. All right. So now you're going to church again. You haven't gone in a long time. This is always important to me. It's one thing to have a faith as a kid because it's a family faith. Now you're going to church. This is you. You've made the decision. What was it like? What happened?
I just think that there's so much more that you can learn in a church that sometimes, like I was saying before, my parents, I don't want to say made us, but as young kids,
So you can say made us. They made you.
they did make us
Yes.
go to church. And me and my brother, I just remember we were coloring, we were doing all
And
these
if I
great
might
things.
interrupt,
Yeah.
I want to let you know they're incredibly proud that they did because this is what you hope as a parent. You don't care when it takes effect, but what you're doing now is obviously a partial result of what they oppose. Denying that, right?
Right. So again, yes, they
Okay.
made us. I remember sitting in the pew with my brother. We were coloring, we're eating snacks. They're doing everything to keep us quiet. And now, as an adult, I feel like it's more something that I wanted to do and I want to do than to be forced to go as a young kid. And now it's kind of creating my own like destiny and future and going with friends. I think going with friends really does help because we have a different perspective than our parents do. So kind of just always talking with them after to kind of see like what did you get out of that? And it's a different than just talking to your parents after a church service as well.
So what do you get out of it? What can you tell us you've said to your friends or that your friends have said to you that that caught your attention and you remember?
There was one a couple months ago, I would say it was about like social media. Again, that is not something that our parents had growing up, and I feel like that is such a big part of our life now that I can sit back and talk with my friends about it. But like our parents, yes, obviously now they do have Facebook and phones and all that. But like when my mom was young, she didn't have that. My the word obsession, like we're obsessed with social media, but and obsessed with technology. But that's the way, I mean, that is the way that we grew up in the way of the world. So even we couldn't be doing this right now if there was no technology. So I think there's a lot of things that are good about it, but also I try to take a step back and like not use my phone as much during the day. But it's also a huge part of a business job and how we communicate with other people too.
All right,
Definitely see the
Mackenzie, now
point.
my
Yep.
favorite question. When have you felt or when do you feel closest to God?
Right now I feel like it's small moments in the shop. Um, we are getting I've learned a lot with some of my employees. A lot of my employees are believers. Um, we always, I don't know, Tom, if you have seen this on your cup when you come in, but we always write little notes. So all of our staff writes little notes on there, and one of our newest staff members, one of his favorite things to write is Jesus loves you. So I think just that speaking out to some of our customers, not that promote God and Jesus and all of those aspects, but just having a coffee shop that a mission is aligning with disabilities and special needs. And then for one of our staff members to be promoting something that he truly believes in. I and then our customers kind of coming to us and showing us and having a conversation about that. And we do see a lot of, we have Bible studies there all the time. We have pastors that come in and write their sermons and hold their office hours at Inclusion. So just seeing that, I feel that opening this shop has brought a lot of our staff and customers closer to each other and to God.
Was that a dream of your shop, or do you go, wow, this is incredible?
I personally opening it, no, I did not. That wasn't really something that we were trying to like incorporate, not trying to, but it wasn't on my radar, I guess. The mission was to get individuals with disabilities jobs. And now with that, I feel like we're pulling in different aspects that I never saw coming.
I know Pip's going to ask this. I'm going to give it to him a second, but you've said so much. And when you say with disabilities, how many people work there? How did you choose how to hire some people? And then I'll defer to Pip. But
Yeah. So our shop is in Heartland. We opened in March of 2022. So we're almost at 2 years, which has been incredible. Currently, we have about between 20 and 25 employees. And more than half of those individuals do have a disability of some sort. Could be cognitive, intellectual, physical. Um, so kind of just bringing all aspects of our community together to open the shop has just been an incredible journey the past 2 years.
well, I know anybody is good that has a situation is going to want to contact you and say, I have this person or want to tell me more. But again, this would be my last question. How do you decide who to hire and who not to hire? And you're 26 years old.
So the hiring process was one of my biggest worries in the beginning, because it was during like right after COVID. I mean, I guess kind of in the middle of it, and no one had staff. So I was like, well, what if we don't get staff? Like, what are we gonna do? Within the first like 2 months of even posting it, we weren't even open. I just remember doing like a Facebook post, with had within 2 or 3 months, we had a waiting list of over 200 people that wanted to apply to work there. So then going through that and kind of meeting, I mean, at that point, it was kind of just picking and choosing, and interviewing and seeing who would be best fit. We knew the positions that we had available and kind of just using their skills of what we talked about during the interview to see how they would be the best fit in our coffee shop.
All right, this will be my last one, I promise.
Keep
Clearly,
going.
you
It's all
mentioned
good.
that.
Keep going.
No, no, no. You wanted people with disabilities. I'm assuming that because people look for workers and don't get 200 people.
Right.
Am I correct in that observation?
Yes. And I think too, I mean, I would say a majority of those 200 plus people were individuals with disabilities, which is obviously what we are looking for. We do have managers, as well, and high school students and things like that. So it's not 100%, individuals with disabilities, but that just makes the coffee shop run and easy. And we're able to, I would say, closely train them and work, individually with those employees to gain their more skills that they, could have not had before they worked there.
This isn't the question. This is a statement. You realize how special you are. Uh, have said this is what somebody should be able to do, and you've been the answer to, I'm sure, millions of prayers. All right, Tommy, it's all yours.
Well, once again, this is My Faith with Homer and Pip. Our guest is Mackenzie Edinger, and she is the owner of the Inclusion Coffee Shop in Heartland, Wisconsin. If you get to Wisconsin, go for it. Homer, you and I have to get there together. You can sit outside when the weather is great. Sometimes Mackenzie brings in entertainment. You got the best smoothies
Oh,
ever.
well,
Food is
Tommy, we'll be
fantastic.
there tomorrow morning. We'll be
All
there
right,
tomorrow
that
morning.
sounds like a plan. So I'm
Yes.
going to we'll be her spokespersons free of charge. It's an incredible atmosphere. But what really got me from day one, Mackenzie, as soon as I walked in, I said, Jesus is in here in a big way, starting with the beautiful people with challenges, but yet so brilliant with many gifts. You sign in, you say a little something, so engaging, and you look all around. And what I love, Mackenzie, is the people you hire, who intermingle with God's special children and they do a bang up job. That must give you great satisfaction to say, hey, this is the Holy Spirit at work, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely really rewarding, and definitely like there's things, different days that happen. I mean, we have customer interactions that make us smile and super proud and rewarding, but there's also those days where our excited to come to work, and you don't see that a lot. I mean, some people hate their job, and we just wanted to make it a fun place and a special place, but also are teaching them that this is a business and it needs to run like one. Um, so still teaching them those skills, and you need to have good customer service and all those small things that we know going into a job, but maybe this is their first time hearing that.
And that definitely is the case. The work is, people are wonderful. Again, the food, the drinks are fantastic, clean atmosphere, and there just seems to be so much love there. How much of your faith story you think, Mackenzie, led you to reach out to, I will again say, God's special children?
I would say a lot. I mean, I know I said this earlier, but I did talk to a lot of friends and family, and then when we did find a location, I remember praying and saying, I hope this works. Like if if he's leading me here right now to open this, I want to make it as successful as possible, hire as many individuals as possible, and really be able to kind of share the gift that I have, that our employees are retired and our special ed teachers. We have a few employees that quit their teaching job just to work here in a different setting with us. It does show that he came through, and we're doing very well, and yeah, so we're very happy.
They say you're not supposed to point out issues, but this mug is probably scaring everyone out there. I apologize. We'll worry about that later. More important is your wonderful faith story and how you're living it out and how others are being blessed through that. Um, how does faith look for you in times of challenges? Have you been through the valleys as well as the peaks? And how has that helped you grow if you have had some challenging times, Mackenzie?
I mean, every business definitely has lows. I do think that we have had more highs. Um, and every day is a new high. I would say there's always something to be thankful for, and something to thank God for. But I mean, I would say our lows right now would be, um, I know I said we had a lot of people on a waiting list in the hiring, but finding our manage our managers and our team leaders that train our individuals with disabilities with respect and patience and just ease. I mean, it's really hard to find great managers and people that will do a special staff. So I've definitely prayed thousands and thousands of times that we won't lose our great managers that we have right now. They do a fantastic job. They let me do things like this when I don't have to be there. And I know that the shop is running smoothly without me. But just knowing that that our staff's parents love the managers, and customers see that how we train and how we really prepare these individuals for their life going forward.
Having all this responsibility, of course, we always try to control things, don't we? I still struggle with that, praying with one hand tied behind my back, but he's asking us, Jesus is, to trust in him, to be vulnerable, to understand that he is always wanting us to be with him. So in that regard, with all the challenges that are going on, has it helped you grow in your faith? What has that been like for you? And perhaps even, if you will, in answering that, Mackenzie, touch on your prayer life, please.
On my prayer life,
Yes.
I I do think definitely I try to pray at least once a day. And it's usually before I go to bed at night, just because that's my time to kind of think about the whole day, what happened, what can we pray for tomorrow, to have a great day, a successful. But there has been, I mean, challenges. He's definitely answered some of our prayers that I needed a new manager to fill positions when we were super busy. Um, and we just keep getting the best applications I could have ever thought possible. I mean, we're getting special ed backgrounds, we're getting coffee shop and barista backgrounds, and just all of that coming together is what we need to be successful. And he truly has answered our prayers. I
Mm.
will 100%.
And if I may suggest to you, watching you and watching all the people on your team, that's a prayer in and of itself. That's what makes it so special. You can get a good smoothie most anywhere, although in my biased opinion, these are the best. But to see what is going on there, it's just always walk in and out with a better feeling. Homer, anything from you further, please?
Yes. What do
Doesn't
you
matter.
know now that you didn't know 2 years ago in any regard?
Yeah. Um, I would say this is going to sound very silly, but business like sense and background. I mean, I didn't go to school for business. So to open a business with no business background is crazy. Um, and for it to be as successful as it is in 2 years is, I would just say, yeah, I would say business sense. I mean, I worked in restaurants, so I knew the restaurant industry and background. But to really run a successful business and just finding the right staff, I feel like is the biggest part of running a successful business is finding people that you can really trust and talk to and bounce ideas off each other, and find a supportive community. Lake Country is and has been so supportive of inclusion, and it really truly brings everyone together, and people are able to meet there and have school meetings and parent meetings and all sorts of things we see in there, and it just really is a huge blessing to us and the community.
You may have answered this a little bit, but I know anybody watching, listening is asking, so how did this start? One day you say, you know what? I want to have a coffee shop and I want to have people with challenges. I mean, you're 9, you're 10, there, people have dreams.
Mhm.
Everybody. I don't know how many people I'm going to run into or have run into that said, you know what? My dream was to have a coffee shop and hire kids or people with disabilities. I would have always assumed that meant there was someone in that person's life that gave them an. How did this start? What
Yeah,
got into
so
your head?
yeah, so I guess growing up, my cousin was a teacher. So I always said, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to follow her footsteps. I'm going to be a teacher. So then through college, I got a special ed and early childhood degree. So still going through undergrad, I'm like, I'm going to be a teacher. Probably first grade. That was my thing. And then after undergrad, I was like, well, I don't know if I want to really be a school teacher, but I want to be in the school. So then I went to get an admin license, and I went through grad school, and now I'm like, okay, well, now I'm not going to work with kids, but I'll work with teachers and like older staff. Um, and then I vacationed to, well, I did see it online first that on the East Coast, there is a similar missioned coffee shop called Biddy and Bose. And they do similar things. Um, and it looked like they had 15, 20 locations at the time. Um, and I was just thinking, I was like, there is nothing like that in Wisconsin that I knew of at all. So starting looking into it, I did find, I think one or two at the time that were open, one in Lake Geneva, one in Fox Point, um, in Wisconsin that kind of ran a similar concept to what I was thinking. And really coffee shop in Heartland was closing. Um, and that they were putting their building, I guess, up for lease or whatever. And I said, well, this is really my time. And I think that too was God giving me the opportunity right there. Yes or no? Like, if you don't take it, someone else will. Um, so 2 days later, we went to go look at the building. And it was already, it was a previous coffee shop. So things were in there that I needed. Um, Unfortunately, he did take all of his stuff with him, but to be able to walk in there and see kind of what it looked like as a running coffee shop, helped get ideas. And within 4 months, we were up and running. So it was it was a super quick process. But again, it needed to be done. And I think having that special ed background in college and seeing all the individuals don't have opportunities to have jobs, and learn these skills that we're teaching now, I just thought we need to do something about this. So,
And there has to be a challenge of knowing what each person can handle and what they can't handle.
and that's something that, yeah, absolutely. And that's something that, I mean, growing up, that's what we learned in school. I mean, everyone is different. You individualize everyone's stuff, and skills, and learn what they can do. Helps when finding managers that do have special ed background, is they also understand that everyone is different and everyone needs different assistance to kind of be successful in our business. So
I've always had the expression that I think is the greatest thing anybody can do, and that is be the answer to someone's prayer. Now, you
Mm.
can't lie to me, because I want to know the number of people that have come up and said to you and given you a hug, the hugs you don't have to tell me, where they said, "You've answered my prayers."
for sure. I mean, I don't have a number, I don't know, but there has been
But it's a large number.
quite a few people, yes. And a lot
Yeah.
of them, I would say more than not, have not been staff members, parents. They have just been community members and parents of individuals with special needs, and teachers even that are seeing where their students can go in the future. But a lot of parents too of our staff members, and we've seen tears, and it's just, it really is. I mean, no one wants to see someone cry, but they're happy tears. And we just hired a woman in her 40s that has never had a job before, and all she wanted to do was be a greeter. And I mean, that was her dream. Her dream job was to be a greeter, and we never had that. Her mom, seeing her mom in tears saying she is so happy to be a part of this. I mean, she works 2 hours a week, but it's the best 2 hours of her week. So just being that person and having a spot for her to feel welcomed is super awesome to hear and to see.
And I will add this. You will never know the thousands of people who will not get a chance to thank you for answering their prayers.
Thank you.
From all these people you meet and their relative and everything. And so whatever the number is, multiply it by 1,000 or 10,000 for the people that are around that wish they could thank you, because you have been the answer to their prayers. Tommy?
Yes. Mackenzie, can you look through the lens of your faith and tell people what they really should know about? I don't even like to use the word disabilities. I like to say people with special abilities. But we
Mhm.
take the time, and if we do, as you're well aware, there'll be a blessing in it.
Sorry, what was your question?
Well, what do you want people to know through that lens of faith about people with special abilities? Let's say many times people don't have time. Patience, one of the fruits of the spirit, but tell someone who maybe doesn't have the attitude, isn't as open as you are to these wonderful souls.
Yeah, I mean, starting this coffee shop, I always said you see individuals with special abilities wiping tables at restaurants. You see them bagging groceries at the grocery store or stocking the shelves at the grocery store, but you really don't see them taking your orders and making your food and making your drinks and just having a conversation with you. Usually they're focused on their one job and they're not having, I would say, like the customer service aspect to it, which is where we try really hard to have them ask a question every day and to really try and have that conversation with our customers that are coming in. And I just think they have so much love and so many skills that people don't see because they just look right past them and say, oh, they
Right.
couldn't help make my coffee. No, they can. They will need just a little bit extra time and maybe extra days of telling them the same thing and a lot of repetitiveness, but they will understand it. And the other day I just got the best compliment from someone in our strip mall where our store is located. And he comes and gets a coffee almost every single day. And he said the best special needs staff. And I mean, that right there is, they just take the time to learn every single skill and every single step of that drink. And they're really paying attention. I mean, I would say even me, we have 10 drinks, I'm rushing through, I'm getting them done, but she really takes the time to learn and take her time on every single step. And it just shows right there that they're passionate about it. They really super care about their job and are very just excited and happy and proud to be there.
I'm sure
All
you
right,
see.
Tommy, I got one
Yeah.
more. I
No,
got
keep
one
going,
more,
buddy.
Tommy.
As long as Mackenzie's good.
We're good.
No,
Right.
no, this is short. So I know you've given major thought to opening other stores, other coffee shops.
So yes, we have that. I mean, my goal is to open another one. I don't know if that's gonna be like a solely owned one that I would go and run it, or it would be letting it almost be like more of a franchise and like let other people that we can just spread it more. But there are so many people that need a job like inclusion. And I mean, seeing that on our waiting list and seeing that with people that come in and say, can you opening this opportunity to others, opening it to other communities in other states, I think that will, it just, it's really just awesome and it's love and people want to be happy walking in. And if you're not happy, you are when you leave because there's no way you can leave unhappy. So it really just is, it's a huge blessing that it's successful and people really want to work there, if not open their own.
Well, Tommy, it's all yours, but I can know that the challenge is to have another store is to have another you. They got to find another
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many there are. Tommy.
I think we're in on the ground floor of something special with someone very special. Mackenzie, before we close, is there anything else you might want people to know about your faith? Perhaps something that we didn't touch on that you'd like to share, maybe with someone who needs some encouragement today in his or her walk to and through the cross of Christ.
I always just say you need to take the step. You need to take the leap of faith and you need to try it. If you don't try it, you'll never know. You can dream about it forever, but um I think really talking to God, taking that leap, trying something new. If it doesn't work, we're young. And I always talk to young entrepreneurs because we're at this time in our life. I said 3 times now, just taking the leap of faith. And really talk to God, talk to your family, talk to your friends. And everyone has different opportunities for you. The amount of people that I've talked to that have opened new doors, and new people, and just we have met so many people in the shop. And I just think that's God's way of saying we need to keep this going because it really truly is a blessing.
That sounds like a good
And
way to wrap it.
and I would add, find some friends and go to church.
Yep.
Right.
Find some friends and go to
Yeah.
church.
That was a key move too, and the Lord knew it. He saw it coming years in advance. Mackenzie, if you will, please, another plug for the shop in Heartland, right off 83. You've got the shopping center with Pick and Save, but the hours, anything you want to share so that people can understand that you're going to get the best food ever and probably have the most special eating and or drinking experience ever.
Yeah, during the week we were open 6:30 to 5, and the weekends we open 7 to 3. So plenty of time for you to come and join us. We have Facebook, Instagram as well, Inclusion Coffee Company. And if you have any questions, you can email inclusioncoffeecompany@gmail.com as well.
I knew the Holy Spirit, Homer, that Mackenzie Edinger was going to knock it out of the park. We just can't thank you enough for taking some of your from this day that people will be blessed, and hopefully you'll find it a blessing on your own journey. Thank you so much again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
For the Homer, he and the Holy Spirit came up with this idea that allows us to have wonderful, faith-filled people such as this remarkable young woman, Mackenzie. And our producer, Brett Young, I'm Tommy Pippins. Thanks again for being with us, everyone. And just a reminder that we'll do it again soon. So we'll see you next time on My Faith with Homer and Pip. God bless you.